Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to Dallas Cowboys Fan, your ultimate destination for all things America's team. Whether you bleed blue and silver or are just starting to catch Cowboys fever, this is the place. If you are a die-hard fan, please make sure to subscribe for more latest news and updates of your favorite team. We've got a game-changing update on tonight's face-off between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints, and let me tell you, things are looking up for America's team. Now, before we dive into this last-minute bombshell, let's set the stage for those who might be joining us late. The Cowboys are heading into the Caesars Superdome tonight, looking to prove they've still got what it takes to be contenders in the NFC East. On the other side, we've got the Saints, fighting tooth and nail to stay relevant in the NFC South. Both teams have had their ups and downs this season, but tonight's matchup was shaping up to be a real nail-biter. The oddsmakers had this one close, with the Cowboys as slight favorites. But folks, that was before this latest update hit our desks. All right, drumroll please. We've just received word that the Saints star running back Alvin Kamar is officially OUT for tonight's game. That's right, you heard it here first. Kamar, who's been a cornerstone of the Saints' offense, has been sidelined due to a last-minute injury flare-up during warm-ups. This is huge, people. We're talking about a player who's been averaging over 100 all-purpose yards per game this season. Now, let's break down what this means for both teams and why the Cowboys' chances of walking away with a double just got a whole lot better. First off, let's look at the numbers. With Kamar on the field, the Saints' offense has been clicking at a 28 points per game average. Without him, that number drops to a measly 17. That's a difference maker, folks. But it's not just about the points. Kamar's absence affects the entire Saints' game plan. He's not just a runner, he's a receiving threat out of the backfield and a key player in pass protection. Losing him is like losing 3 players in one. Switch to Cowboys' defensive highlights. Now, let's talk about how this plays into the Cowboys' hands. Defensive coordinator Dan Quinn must be doing cartwheels right now. With Kamar out, the Cowboys can focus more on pressuring Saints quarterback Jameis Winston. And we all know Winston can be turnover-prone when he's under pressure. Speaking of pressure, let's not forget about the Cowboys' pass rush. With monsters like Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence licking their chops, Winston might be in for a long night. But wait, there's more. This isn't just about the Cowboys' defense having an easier time. This last-minute shakeup could have a huge impact on the Cowboys' offensive strategy too. Think about it. With the Saints likely struggling to move the ball consistently without Kamar, the Cowboys might be playing with better field position all night. This could open up the playbook for offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper must be salivating at the thought of a Saints defense that will be on the field more often and potentially tiring out as the game goes on. Let's not forget about Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard either. The Cowboys' dynamic duo in the backfield could feast tonight. With the Saints potentially struggling to sustain drives, Zeke and Pollard might get more opportunities to wear down the defense and control the clock. Now I know what some of you are thinking. But your name, the Saints, still have other weapons. And you're absolutely right. Let's not count New Orleans out just yet. They've still got talented receivers like Michael Thomas and Tre'Quan Smith. And let's not forget about Taysom Hill, the Swiss Army knife of the NFL. Sean Payton is one of the most creative play callers in the league, and you can bet he's furiously rewriting the game plan as we speak. In fact, Payton has a history of pulling rabbits out of his hat when key players are out. Remember that game against Tampa Bay last year, when half the Saints starters were out with COVID? Yeah, they still managed to shut out Tom Brady and company. But here's the thing, folks. While the Saints might be able to scheme around Kamar's absence to some extent, you can't just replace that kind of talent at the drop of a hat. The timing of this injury is particularly brutal. If they had known earlier in the week, they could have game planned around it. But with just minutes before kickoff, that's a tough pill to swallow. Let's look at the numbers. Before this news broke, the Cowboys had about a 55% chance of winning according to most models. Now, that number has jumped to around 65%. That's a significant swing, especially in a league where games are often decided by the smallest of margins. Now, let's talk about the mental aspect of this. The Cowboys are walking into that stadium right now with an extra spring in their step. They know they've just been handed a golden opportunity. And in the NFL, confidence can be everything. But here's my final thought on this monumental decision. It's not just about winning games or even Super Bowls. What Dan Quinn brings to the Dallas Cowboys is hope. Hope for a brighter future. Hope for a team that can consistently compete at the highest level. Hope for a franchise that can reclaim its place at the pinnacle of the NFL. On the flip side, imagine being in that Saints locker room right now. You've prepared all week with your star player in mind, and suddenly, minutes before the biggest game of the week, he's out. That's gotta be deflating. We caught up with some fans outside the Superdome, and the mood has definitely shifted. Cowboys fans are feeling more confident than ever, while Saints fans are putting on brave faces but clearly worried. But hey, that's why they play the game, right? On any given Sunday, or in this case, Thursday night, anything can happen. That's the beauty of the NFL. So, what should you be watching for tonight? Keep an eye on how the Saints try to compensate for Kamar's absence. Will they lean more on the passing game? Will we see more of Taysom Hill in the backfield? And on the Cowboys side, watch how aggressive they get on defense. Do they blitz more, knowing the Saints' best safety valve is out? For you fantasy players and bettors out there, this news is huge. If you've got Cowboys defensive players, you might be in for a big night. And if you were on the fence about starting Doc or any Cowboys receivers, this might just push you over the edge. All right, folks, we're just about out of time here. The teams are taking the field as we speak, and this game is about to kick off. But before we go, let's recap the key points. Alvin Kamara is out for the Saints due to a last-minute injury. This significantly boosts the Cowboys' chances of winning. Expect the Cowboys' defense to be more aggressive. The Saints will need to get creative to compensate for Kamara's absence. This game just got a lot more interesting.